Alright guys, we're on the final type out of the type support EZAs, which is Tech. We're starting with Extreme Tech this time, which is the second form Cell. Not gonna lie, I didn't realize he actually goes on some very decent extreme categories. Now, along with the other extreme type supports, he's always going to be behind the super class ones just because extreme units don't be getting no love. But there you go, as the common theme we've been seeing, only at 55%. He does support some very hefty extreme tech units, Fusion Zamasu being one of them. I did just kind of bang VB on the team just to get the third ally, which then I completely forgot. The friend LR Tech Zamasu would also be the third ally, but it doesn't matter. And we're actually supported everyone on this rotation, by the way, which is actually really nice. And we also have a decent amount of key spheres. So we're starting with 123k attacks, that's 72k defense. We can get ourselves 8 key spheres, 7 of them being tech. So we're getting 400% attack and defense from all the key spheres, and we're getting an extra 140% attack and defense and 70% chance to crit because they are tech key spheres, which takes Cell up to 759k attack, 317k defense, and as it's his first appearance, he's also going to be guaranteed guarding. That said, LR Fusion Zamasu is a massive unit for him to be supported. 4.2 mil on a support unit isn't too bad. Of course, having Big Bad Bosses active as well, very nice. Not so much for the attack. I mean, for these units, it really doesn't matter. He's actually started Fusion Zamasu on 8 mil. Not Fusion Zamasu, EZA, LR, Rose, and Zamasu on 8 mil. That's how strong these supports are. I mean, I know we've been using throughout this entire few days, but we've not really got to see a support like make that much of an impact aside from Kaba with EZA Super Vegeta, and that wasn't even in his video. Damn. That's actually really good to make. I mean, to be fair, they start off with solid damage as it is, and they're quite well linked up. But to start EZA, LR, Rose, and Zamasu on over 8 mil, and they hadn't even started building up yet because they hadn't been hit. That's how strong this support is. That's that key +3, 68% attack and defense for extreme tech units. Very strong. In terms of the rest of the links, I mean, Messenger from the Future we're missing. We're also probably missing the wall standing tool as well. Probably a bit better suited, obviously, with a Cell unit, but just a lot of those units are behind now. That is kind of the overall arching theme for extreme units alone, but more so, as I've mentioned before, like Android units, artificial lifeform units, Android / Cell Saga extreme units, and unfortunately, second form Cell falls into that. We're all beat down though. I'm pretty sure we can get that active. Can we get that active? No, we can't. I mean, if we put someone else on the team, we actually could have, but still, I mean, again, damage is not really why you're bringing these units, so to miss out on 15% attack, not really too much of an issue. But he does go on a very strong team. He actually has quite a few 200% leads, which I was quite shocked at. He has Zamasu, who's very good. He actually, funny enough, goes on Sword of Hope Trunks' 200% lead. The only thing is that's packed full of superclass units. I mean, there's a few that aren't, but majority are. Gamma 1 and Gamma 2, who you can actually make a mixture of an extreme team with to fit him on with some good units, and also tick off the box for tech units as well with some of the superclass units. So that actually could have been an option to put Gamma 1 on there. Android 21, he would work really well on. Then when it comes to much better working units, or units he works better with, such as the transforming Cell, didn't really want to use that because, I mean, for the last 6 months, I only ever use his team for a unit's 200% lead, not because I want to be using them. As I said, when it comes to power absorption, artificial lifeforms, Android units, Android / Cell Saga extreme type units, that category is so far behind that every time there is a new EZA or a new unit, because they are few and far in between, the category doesn't really catch up. And there's always like a couple weak links that could easily ruin a run, and you have to get quite lucky. So that's why I avoided using that, even though of course he's much better suited to being with other Cell units. But a lot of the Cell units, even the better ones like EZA, LR, Incel, they've got on a bit. And we kind of need some EZAs, we need a new Cell. That's where we're at right now. But I mean, as I said, he does go on Time Travelers, which is a very good category. It's just you're not going to really use him there. I mean, you can, as I said, you could run Sword of Hope Trunks, dual lead, LR Vegeta and Trunks, lock that rotation off, then have Fusion Zamasu, VB, that's 2 tech units. You also have EZA, LR Rose and Zamasu. You could put Cell on the team. He'll be floating anyway. Yes, would half the rotation or half the rotations be, you know, getting to actually use his support? No. But every other turn, giving extreme tech units, you know, attack and defense plus 60% and cleave plus 3, you don't really mind that too much, even though not all of the rotations are actually taking advantage of it. So you could have actually squeezed him on there. It's just, as I said, when you're going to be building this team, probably not going to put him there, but he could if you wanted to go that way, and that's actually a very strong team. I said LR Vegeta and Trunks, Sword of Hope Trunks, LR Fusion Zamasu, you know, EZA Rose and Zamasu. No, I was going to say AGL Zamasu. He's not on this team, is he? Is he on this team? Yeah, of course he is. AGL Zamasu's on this team. I mean, I really could have run him on that team. That team is very strong. But I decided to just go for this one instead, where there's more extreme units that he can actually support with. In terms of super attack effect, he greatly raises defense for 1 turn. 50% defense is good. I mean, it's better than stacking attack. It's better than doing attack for 1 turn. It would have been nice if he'd done both, but just doing the 50% defense, it's the more important stat for these units or types of units to be boosting. If they gave him stacking, that also would have been very nice as well for his defense. But, I mean, I'll take 50% defense for 1 turn. It puts his defense in a very solid spot, especially if you can get him a decent amount of key spheres, which I've been noticing on average for all of these type support units. Because, I mean, we've almost done all of them, which is 10 videos. And Kaba made an appearance in Hit's video. On average, you're looking at, or at least for the most part, I think you get between 6 and 8 key spheres on average, which really isn't too bad. And again, all of mine, apart from the Fizz Gohan support unit, all of mine are at 55%. So for a unit that is literally made for slot 3 and to be an out and out support, like that's why they're here. On top of everything else, have their defense in that range off of 6 to 8 key spheres is actually pretty good. I mean, especially while their guard's active, but even afterwards. And then if you can get them a decent amount of key spheres, as we've seen, Kaba hit 800k, I think off of 10. If he gets enough super attacks deep, along with getting a decent amount of key spheres, he can easily have over 1 mil. Losing enough HP to get down to 50% HP is a lot more common in difficult content as well. So it's actually, compared to like showcases, it's actually a lot easier to trigger that part of their passive to have the nuke turn. So you're easily going to have well in excess of over 1 million defense as well. And then having the extra 50% defense on top from second form Cell, even when his guard's gone, he's going to have a pretty decent defense, considering, as I said, he's always going to be in slot 3. He's going to get to super first. He's going to get that 50% defense. The only thing that could catch him early on any of these units is Fusion Zamasu with his AoEs, and they have guard. The only other one that might be an issue currently on global is once their guard's gone, and then that's when Shenron's AoEs kick in. But then, you know, a lot of you've probably gone dodge builds, but then that's where, no, unless you're completely against them and don't use them, that's where you're going to want to be using items. 10 key spheres though. 3 of them are rainbow key spheres, so 350% attack and defense from... No, not 350% attack and defense. We're getting... For some reason I thought tech key spheres were also getting 50% attack and defense. That means we're getting 140% attack and defense from tech key spheres, 70% chance to crit. In total, 500% attack and defense. Remember, his guard's gone at this point. 867k attack stat, 360k defense. Literally not linked up too well. And of course, because he isn't level 10 links, we also don't have big bad bosses. So he would actually have, if he was level 10 links or somewhat close to it, he would have the extra 25% attack and defense on top of that as well. So he would actually have a bit more defense, near in the realms of probably like, well, 400k, I reckon, or very close to it. So, I mean, if we have big bad bosses active there, which, I mean, could have actually got it just now. Solid amount of defense, again, especially pre-super, because that's another 50% defense on super as well. And again, this is all at 55%. So I can't lie, Cell has a very good extreme team under his belt. He also manages to squeeze on other teams, such as Time Travelers, where you have a mixture. you know, even some other categories where you can mix in Zamasu's Realm of Gods, Fused Fighters, etc. And then 21, who of course I don't have. So he actually has a few options to trigger his guard with tech units. There's a few decent extreme tech units, but again, extreme class units always kind of behind, and that's just the way it is in Dokkan. He has a very strong category on his belt, under his belt, and I said a few categories that could easily be mixed in, so he's actually in a pretty solid spot. The only thing is, he's not going to be too well linked up just because his best linking partners are always going to be himself. Other versions of Cell, and unfortunately those units are behind. And, you know, that's just kind of the way it is with Android units. That category is always trailing. So he's actually in not a bad spot, and he has a good essay effect as well. And he supports some big tech units, I won't lie. Or specifically some big extreme tech units. So I actually quite like him, and he's in a pretty decent spot, especially compared to Super Boo, and definitely compared to Rodo, who you just have zero use for. Whereas the second form Cell, you actually have some use for. If you actually, you know, to give him a go, especially if you kind of give him a dodge build as well, or maybe with skill orbs. You can let me know your thoughts down in the comments. I'll see you in the next video, guys. Take care, have a great day, and folks.